Hello everyone, and I'm back with a new video. So today I'll be teaching you some basic end game patterns. End game in the sense how to checkmate your opponent. So if you remember how the rules of chess work, which I've taught you in my first video, I'll link it in the description, or you can also check it by clicking the I button. So the aim of the game is to checkmate the opponent's king. So now there are various ways of doing that. In that video, I'd also explained what is sufficient and what is insufficient material. And if you remember, then queen alone is sufficient material. Queen and king is sufficient material to checkmate. So today I'm going to teach you how to checkmate with some more patterns, queen and king, and some more such patterns. So let's get started. So I've given black the best square that is possible. So whenever you try to checkmate the opponent, if you're getting checkmated, you must always try to remain on these four central squares, as they are farthest away from the corners where you get checkmated. So I've given black the best square possible, and we're going to checkmate him. Okay. So let's see how this works. So remember, whenever you're checkmating with the queen, the checkmate position which you're trying to achieve is this. Wait just a second. The checkmate position you're trying to achieve is this, or maybe something like this, or maybe something like this as well. So these are some checkmate positions that you're trying to achieve. So I'll be teaching you how to achieve these. Sorry about that part. Anyways, so let's see how to do that. So if you remember how knights move, which is also taught in my rules video, knights move in L shapes like this. So the first step is to keep your queen at a knight distance from the opponent's king. So you play queen e2. So now the king went up, and by the way, I'm playing this computer level 10, which is like the highest level of computer available on chess.com. So you always keep it at a knight distance. So now I keep it at a knight distance, and there's a quite easy trick here. Suppose you're low on time, you played this, and the king goes there. King went one square diagonally to the top left, you do the same. He went one square up, you do the same. He went one square diagonally down left, do the same. He went one square up, go up. One more square up, you go up. Now you've got to be a bit careful. So now when the king reaches one of these lines, the last lines, the ranks and the files, if you remember, that is when you got to start being careful, because if you mess up here, then you might end up stalemating and drawing in a completely winning position, which is quite frustrating, trust me. So here what your aim is, find out whichever line the king is stuck on. In this case, it's this line. You have to bring your queen to one of the squares in the adjacent line, which in here is the B file. So I have to bring my queen here. Now if I play this, it's stalemate, game drawn by stalemate. Therefore, when you've reached the last line, you have to stop taking knight distance. So now once you reach the last file and the king is restricted to only this line, your next step is to bring your king into the game. So let's play ahead. We'll bring our king into the game. You have to bring your king near your opponent's king. Now here it's our chance. So we have to be careful about what we play. If we play something like this, the king just runs away like that. So we have to play this. This is checkmate. Why? Because the white queen is covering all these squares, and the queen is protected by the king. So the king cannot capture the queen. So this is how you achieve checkmate with a single king and a queen. So the technique is to take knight distance. Continue taking knight distance until you reach the last rank or the last file. Restrict the king to the last rank or the last file. Bring your own queen to support your queen, and checkmate. So these are the steps to checkmate with the queen. So now we are going to checkmate with a king and a rook. So let's set up the position. Just remove that. First we'll learn with two rooks, because two rooks is like, you should learn that before you learn one rook. Let's keep king and two rooks, and a lone king here. Again, we'll keep it in the center, that gives it best chance of surviving. So let's finish this against the computer. Yeah, computer level 10, and let's start. So what is the pattern here? So if you remember how rooks move, which is also taught in my rules video, they move horizontally or vertically. So if you see, if I bring a rook here, it covers all of these squares, right? So that is our aim, to cover one by one, cover all of these squares, here, 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 and until the king finally reaches somewhere here, suppose, and you finally bring your rook anywhere on this line and deliver checkmate. So that is how you deliver checkmate with two rooks. So let's start. So the aim is, now if he is here, first decide where you want to corner him. Let's decide to corner him here, because if we decide to corner him here or here, our king is in the way and these two rooks are not connected to each other. So that is why. Let's do it this side. Doesn't matter actually, unless you're facing that 50 move draw rule. So let's see. So the first step is, if you're cornering him here, whichever line he is on, get your rook to the line before that. Now always be careful. Sometimes what happens is, let me show you what happens. Now you will think you have to get the rook to one line ahead of the king, which is this line here, and you accidentally blunder and play this. You can still checkmate with one rook, but two rooks is always easier. So make sure that wherever you're taking your king, wherever you're taking your rooks, it is not attacked by the king. So here, now he's left this line. So whichever square he has left, we have to pick up that square and control it. So he's left this line, so we have to control this line now. He's left this line, so we have to control this line now. But if I play this, it's a blunder because he can easily capture the rook. So what you do is take the rook as far as possible. Now if I take it here, it won't work, because next step I play this, he comes here, and if I play this, he escapes. So that is wrong. So here what you're supposed to do is, you are supposed to play here, so that both the rooks are free to move. The king does get one extra move, but then you can easily corner him without any more disturbances like this. Checkmate. So the steps are just corner the king. It's pretty easy, pretty elementary checkmate. Nothing to learn actually in this beginner, not even beginner level stuff. So now the next two I'm going to teach you today, they are a bit tricky. So the first one is here. This is king and rook. So let's play this against the computer. So I have not taught you this before, but it's just a basic concept. When there is one square, when there is an odd number of squares between the two kings, it is called opposition. So in this checkmate pattern, your aim is to first gain opposition with your own king, and then remove your opponent's king from that line. How? Let me show you. So first we are going to try, and now let's see. The next move is threatening to come out. To come out from here. But we can't allow that. We don't want him to escape. And if we play here, he will just repeat and repeat and repeat, which will result in a draw by 3-4 repetition. So what you do is you play this, and now you don't want him to come here, so you just cut off this line. Now he's going to attack your rook, and the moment he leaves a line, he's left this line now, and your rook is also in a position to take control of it. Sorry about that noise. I live near the airport. So yeah, you have to control the squares whichever the opponent's king leaves. So he's left this whole rank, so we have to control this rank, and always try to gain opposition like this. He's left this rank, so he's left this rank. So now we take control of it. Gain opposition. Okay, he's gonna. We'll keep on gaining opposition. And now let's try once more. Since he's interested in repeating moves, we do not want to do that. What we do is we take our rook and give him a check while it is supported by our king. Now, if he comes this side to the right in front of your king, when you gain opposition, you take your rook away. He can't escape. See, here he couldn't have escaped because my king was covering all three squares. So getting the rook down is completely fine. Anywhere would work. Here, 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 d3, d2, d1, and taking it to d1 simply. Now this part is a bit tricky. If I give him a check here, he just escapes. I don't know why he didn't do it. But if I give him check here, he's supposed to escape. But if I play this move, just watch. Just imagine there's a rook here. The rook covers these two squares. The king is covering these two squares, thus restricting the king only to this line again. So if we get the rook here, he goes back. Now, this is the advantage. Why do we need to have opposition? So that when the kings have opposition, the rook can come from the side and check the king. So when we check the king, if there is a rook here, this entire file is controlled, entire rank, and these three squares are just controlled by the king. That is why opposition is so important. So check, king tries to attack our rook. We protect it simply so that we keep control of this line. Gain opposition, keep on gaining opposition. Interested in repeating moves, give him a check. Follow the same pattern. Don't allow his king to escape. You give a check here. Okay, so now we've reached the final line. We have to repeat this whole process one last time to checkmate him. So keep on trying to get opposition. Okay, so he is interested in repeating. So you give him a check. Now what happens if he goes that side? Now you will surely gain opposition. Now you have gained opposition because there is no way to escape. He can't come too much this side because the rook is protecting this square. So you will gain opposition no matter what. We gained opposition. Follow the same pattern which I have taught you. And one last time, checkmate. Okay. So the steps are gain opposition, cut off ranks or files from the king, opponent king, depending on wherever he is moving, whichever side he is moving. And then finally, give a check from your rook from the side so that he has to lose control of a particular rank or a file. So the last checkmating pattern we're going to discuss today is king and bishop pair, two bishops. Let's open analysis. Finish this against the computer. Okay, so this is our next position and the final position for today. So I'll just teach you, like, let me show you a simple pattern of bishops, unique to bishops. Just imagine these two bishops are here and the king is here. Just imagine, yeah. The king, if you notice, all these four squares are covered by the bishops. So it basically forms a wall. And also, okay, let's just get it out somewhere so the king has more space. So if we keep this here, yeah, these two bishops are controlling all of these squares. Yeah, so the only way for the king to escape is to come out like this. By which time our king will stop it from escaping, of course. So our basic idea is to keep the two bishops together like this next to each other so that they can never be attacked by the king. So this is the basic idea we're going to follow. And one more idea is obtuse angle. So if you've studied in school, obtuse angle basically means an angle greater than 90. So this is 90 degrees. So basically we are trying to aim for something like this, bigger than 90 degrees, yeah? Bigger, this is an obtuse angle. So this is what we're trying to aim for. Obtuse angle, the two bishops will be on one line and we are aiming for our king here. So if you look at this position with black's chance, he can't come here or here or here because of the bishops. This square is controlled by this bishop. The king controls this square. So he only can go back, which is good for us because he gets checkmated only when he reaches the last rank or last file. So let's finish this against the computer. So the first step is to control the central squares, which is an important opening principle. It's also important for bishop endgames. So let's try and gain control of the central squares. Okay, so we have gained control of the central squares, if you see. Yeah. So now next step is transport your bishop to the central squares. Okay, if he is harassing them too much, just keep them far away. Yeah. And take your king to the central square so it can support the bishops there. Yeah. So his king is running away and he's already reached the last line, which is pretty good for us. So let's try to corner him in the last line. Okay, he's trying not to get cornered, but we will corner him no matter what. So now if you see this formation, sorry, sorry about that. If you see this formation, it just totally it totally cuts off the king from this line. So basically the king is trapped in this area. Yeah. So now our aim is to reduce the number of squares that he has. Okay, wait, that was a bad move. So which square has he recently left? This square. So it's your aim to control this square. Okay, he is trying to escape, but there is no escape for him because these squares are nicely controlled. His only chance of escaping is coming like this, by which time our king will obviously stop him. So there is no escape. Yeah. So now when his king, we have to make his king leave this line. Basically, the king should not remain in contact with this line so that we can move a bishop here and control even this file, this diagonal. So let's try to get the king there. Okay, so this is the formation I was talking about. If you remember, we have to make an obtuse angle by bringing our king here. So in such cases, what you play is a waiting move. A waiting move is basically wasting a move. So if I play something like this, he moves back and now I get my obtuse angle. Oh, and we also got opposition, which is a plus. So now he does not have contact with this diagonal. So we can start controlling this one. Yeah, with like this. So if he tries to attack our bishops, get them, protect them. Now it's even easier because he's going that way. So let's take our bishops up one by one. So his king is now trapped here. Yeah. His king is limited to these 6 squares, which is a good sign. Okay, wait. I made a bad move here. He's left this square, so we have to control this square. That is the aim. Here both the bishops are being protected by the king. Okay, wait. What am I doing? What am I doing? Sorry about that. Really sorry. Yeah, so now his king is just limited to these 2 squares, so he has no chance of escaping. So now what we've got to do is decide which side you want to checkmate him. So it's always better to take the side which is more squares in case of bishops. Otherwise, you may end up accidentally stalemating your opponent. So you have to take your king to that side first. So the king is here. And now you have to start limiting his squares like this. Okay, wait. Since I am not well versed in this endgame, let me do one thing. I'll play from both sides myself and teach you this endgame. I'm really sorry about this, but I'm no top player. I am unrated. I just play chess. I'm trying to improve. So I'll just teach you like this. So this is like a level 10 engine, 3000 rated engine. So this is really tough. But in beginner level games and in like I think till around 1500, 1800 rating, this is the main pattern which will be followed. So let's load this and let's start. I'll be playing as black and white. So first step, control the central squares, and a human opponent will mostly try to stay in the center. So that's we keep it that way. And now he has no central squares. He'll stay as close to the center as possible. Now take your king to support your bishops. See, he comes here. He comes here attacking our bishop. But that won't usually happen. He'll try to stay as close to the center. So after this, he'll maybe come here. Yeah. You take your bishops and control the center like this. He comes here, come here, and you get your obtuse angle. He goes back. He went from this square, so you have to control this like this, and make sure that that your kings are more, your bishops are most of the time protected by your king. He stays here, his chance, and obtuse angle formation once again. Left this square, control this square. Left this square, control this square. Yeah. But now there's one problem. If you try to get the obtuse angle formation here, this is stalemate and it's a draw. So when you reach the last line, you have to stop the obtuse angle. Similar to queens, you have to stop knight distance. In bishops, you have to stop obtuse angle. So once he, now it's his chance. Now it's our chance. So let's take our king here. Here, his only move is here. Yeah, and now we start limiting squares. He can come here, but there's no point because we'll just check him back. Yeah, here if he goes here. Okay, wait, sorry, I messed up. Sorry, if he goes, if you play this. So before this, in fact, you must get your king to the other side. Now you start playing this. Now notice, if you play something like this, he can easily escape from here. So your first step is to control the square with your king and prevent him from escaping. So it's opposition once again. He comes here, and now you play, just check him and checkmate. So these were the patterns of the basic checkmate patterns you need to learn. There's only one more, bishops and knights, but that is quite high, quite advanced, and maybe I'll teach you some other time. And I'm really sorry about what happened with the bishop checkmates. I'll try that it does not happen again. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you back on Sunday with another video. Thank you.